Yes, my people, welcome back to Tenacious Trading Group. And today, again, FOMC day. So we're gonna head over to the 1 hour chart. Sorry, let me just clear my charts. That was from yesterday. So if we go to the 1 hour time frame, we can see that price is bullish, based off the SMA, based off structure. And I mean, this is a validated swing high because it's kind of higher than one to the left and one to the right. We've closed below it first before taking out the high. So we are technically trading from this low and this high. So it looks like price is clearly in the pullback where it wants to potentially tap into something and obviously make its way higher after that potentially. So when I head over to the 5 minute time frame, we're probably going to be bearish. Yep. So on my 5 minute time frame, we can see that price is actually bearish based on structure, based on SMA, and there was actually a nice, I wouldn't say nice trade, but there was a potential setup where look, we've closed below this low here. And then within here we do have SPS again. It's not the cleanest one, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Played around with the SMA. You probably have a level of support and resistance there. Yeah, had a level of support and resistance right there, and you can see how price now distributes lower. If I was to draw out my fib from this high to this low, we can clearly see that price at the 618 a long time. Well, this low here, sorry. We can see that price tapped the 618 a long time ago. It was probably in a little bit of drawdown depending on where you've entered, but price at least gives you that 1-to-1 and potentially 1.6, or come close to 1.6. Didn't give you 1.6. So yeah, that could have been your potential trade based off just the 5 minute time frame. And if I go to my 1 minute chart, then you can say price is kind of just hovering around with the SMAs, but we'll stick to the 5 minute time for now. And if we just let price play out, so so we eventually close below that low. So now I know that that's a MSB. So now if there's an area that I would like for price to tap into, it will probably be this area. This is my last up down movement. So price might want to tap into here, continue to make lower lows, lower highs. We might want to tap into this whole section here. It really depends. Let's just wait and see. Or this whole section here. It really depends, but we'll just wait and see. And if we let price play out, we keep dumping. So I know that that's a good. I wouldn't say that's a good sign, but I know that price is now bearish. So if I go to my 1 minute time frame, there are probably setups that I could have taken. So if we look, we close below this low here, and within this low, there is SPS, just not the cleanest one. We close below this low, we've closed below this low, we've closed below this low, we've closed below this low. But for me, this was probably the area that I would have picked, where now this is the 1, this is the 2, this is the 3, this is the 4, this is the 5. Why have I picked this area here? Because we have an area which has not been tapped into. So I understand that these these protected highs are a form of liquidity. It's the manipulation, and we need this in order for price to move the markets. And we can see what happened. We ended up tapping into this area here, and obviously price should distribute lower. For those of you that asked me, but what entry did you take? I didn't take a trade today. I didn't trade today. However, 618 works out there perfectly, as you guys can see there. Works out perfectly over there. IB candle also works out perfectly here. You guys can see right there. That's an IB candle, because this candle has closed inside bar. You put your stop just below that candle there, and you can see how that also plays out. So there were two entry methods that you could have taken, and even CSS. So you can see that this is my last bullish candle. We've closed below it. We've had a pullback within it. DTFX one, and we've tapped the 0.3 level. So similar to the IB, same stop, and this also wins. So yes, you could have taken a trade based off the 1 minute time frame, understanding that on your 1 hour time frame, yes, we are still bullish. However, we're in the pullback because price is making lower lows and lower highs. There's no indication that price has started to make higher highs and higher lows. You can see we are making lower lows and lower highs. It's very evident and it's very clear within internal structure based off my external structure. So as we let price play out, so obviously I'm done for the day now, potential, because obviously I trade from 3 to 5 normally, UK time. In New York, that would be 10 a.m. to 12 noon. So let's just go over and see what FOMC had done. And okay, so you can see that from there, price was moving a little bit erratic. So again, if we just count back our steps, this is my protected high. We close below this low here. So this ended up being my protected low. So before we took out this protected low, there was a potential trade that you could have also taken. So again, it doesn't really look the best, and I personally probably wouldn't have taken it. Let me see if the 1 minute looks better. So yeah, I probably wouldn't have taken it, but we ended up tapping into this unmitigated move origin here. If you want to be more precise, you could say we tapped into this wick fractal right there. And then if you look carefully, this is my 1. This is my 2, because this is the pullback. This is the 3, this is the 4, and then this is the 5. So you can see where we swept, where we've tapped into an area of interest. But we are above the SMA based off my 1 minute time frame. If I go to my 5 minute, you can see that we're actually below, and it's pretty much similar. Where's my 1? Where's my, I'll do that again. So this will have to be the 1, that will have to be the 2, this will have to be the 3, and then that's the 4, 5. And you can see that on your higher time frame, which is the 5 minute, we tapped into this wick fractal, and we know it to be a area of supply and demand. So again, like, you can see how 2 time frames align. Let's move that. Would it be ideal? Absolutely not. But if someone wanted to use this, I mean, I don't make the rules, innit? But yeah, and then we can see that price ends up taking out our previous lower low. So again, if I was to drop my fib from this high to this low, where's the 618? You can see how we've tapped the 618, tapped an area of interest, and obviously price has now taken out our previous lower low. On the 1 minute, obviously this is how it looks like. And yeah, so that's the 1, that's the 2, where's the 3? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we're above the SMA, so potentially you might not have taken this. So you might have potentially waited. And you can see internally, while we made a high, we made a low, we made a high, we made a low, we made a higher high, failed to make a new higher high, ended up making a lower low. So that's the indication of the first flip there from this area here. What happened? We pulled back and we continued lower. So if you know how to take a trade, within this structure, then you can be my guest. And then potentially you could have SBS combo, where that's your 1, that's your 2, that's your 3, that's your 4, that's your 5. Is it ideal? Absolutely not. Once again, however, it's the context behind the trade. Yeah. And if I just go to my 1 hour chart, because I don't want to make this video too long, we can see what FOMC had done on the higher time frame. So this is my protected low, and on my higher time frame, we've just wicked. On my low time frame, it's a candle close. So now a lot of people probably think that price is now bearish, hence why you got to be careful and understand where you are within structure. And if I just let price play out throughout the night, so as I've let price play out, you can see how this was a form of liquidity on the higher time frame. So now essentially this could be 1, that could be 2, this could be 3, 4, 5. You know, someone else might dispute that. No. So yeah, so essentially that's your 1, that's your 2, that's your 3, this is your 4, this is your 5. You can see how we tapped the 200 SMA. We respected the 200 SMA. Price is still bullish, and then potential just facilitating this area here. You can see how price has now tapped the 618. You can see how price tapped the 618. You can see how price tapped this area of supply and demand, and you can also say that this was a what's it called, SBS model 1. You see that? So when you have things put in place and you understand where you are within structure, where you are within price, it's very hard to just get cooked for no reason. Yes, it was FOMC. Yes, I did not take a trade. However, when I look back and I'm now analyzing the charts, you can see when you follow the SMAs, like I said on gold, when you follow the SMA, when you follow market structure, when you understand where you are within price, you are practically unstoppable. Again, like you can see, all of these variables were practically there. Let me just double check. Yeah, all these variables were practically there, and it was, I mean, based off the 1 hour time frame, it was a good trade. Based off your lower time frame, you could have potentially got cooked. Hence why, whatever time frame you're on, you follow the SMA based on that time frame. And now that what happens, price closed above this high, close above that high. Now I can start looking for continuation setups based on my higher time frame. And even so, you can see that that's your 1, that's your 2, that's your 3, that's your 4, that's your 5. Well, above the SMA, it doesn't look that great. We don't tap the 618, we don't tap the 50%, but we do tap the 382 level, and we know that to be an area of supply and demand, or the 0.3 level, as you might know from DTFX. But you can see for yourself that we tapped into this area here. And I mean, if you want to be very precise, you could always narrow it down like that. And in that case here, we can see we tapped the 618 very nicely, had a bit of consolidation, tapped into something, and obviously what's happened, prices are now taking out our previous higher high, close above that high, and now I can start looking for trades once again in continuation of my higher time frame. So all of this, it makes sense after a while. And look, on a higher time frame, what have we done? We have just created SBS model 1. Let me just clear my charts, remove drawings. Yeah, so we just created SBS model 1 in this case here. Again, it's not the best, so excuse me, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you can see how price has continued higher, but as I always say, victory belongs to the most tenacious. Wherever you are in the world, I'm wishing you guys a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, and a good night, and I'll see you lots tomorrow. Peace and ciao.